Well, just saw Batman v Superman. And I'm just kind of like, I have mixed feelings to say the least, okay? Disappointments of what could have been. First things first, this is my non-spoiler review, so I'll save the specifics for the spoilers review. Not for this part. For this, I'm going to try to be brief. I'm going to try to be not very specific. I'm just going to suggest certain areas. I'll talk mostly about the acting, the plot, some of the plot, and try not to be spoilery. First, let me say what I liked. Batman being played by Batfleck. He killed it. I was one of the few people who honestly thought he wouldn't do a bad job. And guess what? He did not do a bad job. In fact, he killed it. And I mean that in a literal way. He killed it. I was one of the few who honestly had no worries. I had no worries about him being played by Ben Affleck. I just had no worries at all, to be honest. A lot of people doubted him because of Daredevil and all these other films. But lately, he's been doing a great job, and he did a magnificent job as Bruce Wayne and Batman. He was threatening. He was scary. He was damn brutal. Like, really brutal. This is a Batman we haven't seen at all. He's so hardened and so brutal. I mean, you've seen the trailers where he's branding people. That's pretty crazy. And the way they first show him is so cool. It's scary. He's threatening. He's scary. He was way more threatening than Christian Bale. I mean, come on. Christian Bale did great, but I can't take this seriously. I can't. Can you?
I'm not wearing hockey pads. Where were the other drugs going? You'll be in a padded cell forever. Won't be any fireworks.
His fight scenes were so damn cool. Batman v Superman fight, the actual fight was really well done too. Like all that stuff Zack Snyder always does a great job on. The way they introduced him, although most of the film was focused on him. This is part of the reason why it's Batman v Superman, not Superman v Batman. Because Batman has, I think, more screen time than Superman. At least that's how it felt, even if that's not the case. Wonder Woman being played by Gal Gadot, she did a great job too. She wasn't only in it for a little bit, but for the little scenes she was in, she did a good job, a very good job. I can't fully evaluate her because she wasn't here that long, but for the few scenes she did have, she did a really good job. She sold me. I was one of the people who doubted her because, I mean, she had only starred in race car movies and who thought, hey, let's make her an Amazonian warrior. Yeah, but she did a good job. She did a really good job. And I can't wait for her own movie, which is coming out next year. I think we will all be able to fully evaluate her at that point. Another thing I liked was the plot. The whole Superman, can we trust him? Is he operating by himself? Is he operating for America? Who does he serve? Does he do his own will? Does he just serve his own kind of punishments? Who can really control him? You know, the whole aspect, that I think that was the highlight of the plot. The whole not knowing if he can trust him, not knowing if what he truly does is just doing what's right or just doing what he feels is right or what he wants to do. Most people loved him, but a lot of people did fear him too. They would fear, this alien being from another world who can cause so much destruction at any time. Destroy the earth at will almost. Can we really trust him? That struggle with Superman was great. The cinematography was great, to be expected, and the visuals was great, to be expected. Zack Snyder, come on. This is something he always does a good job on. Pretty much all the time. Jeremy Irons as Alfred was really cool. He's like a badass. Even his butler is a badass in this. He did a great job. He was like a typical father. He's kind of like the father figure. You should do this, Bruce. You should do that, Bruce. You shouldn't do this, Bruce. But he just did a great job. Jeremy Irons, his voice, he wasn't in it that long, but for what he did a really good job for those scenes. Superman overall did a good job too. Superman did really good. He probably would have done great if it was more focused on him. But since this was introducing this new version of Batman, we had to focus on Batman. And it would have been much better if he had a threatening villain. But J.C. Eisenberg was not threatening in the least. Well, I'll talk about that later. In the first movie, we really got behind Superman because he struggled against Zod. He struggled against fighting all these Kryptonians, fighting them, and the government did not trust them, and all this stuff. We really connected to him. We really connected to him as a character. And as this film, we had a few scenes of that, but just not enough. Partly due because Zod, Fiora, and all the other Kryptonians did a great job of making us cheer for Superman. But with Lex Luthor being as weak as he was in the plot and as a major villain, that just kind of degraded everything. I did not come out of the movie satisfied like I did for Man of Steel. I just did not. When it came out of Man of Steel, I was wowed. I was happy. I was satisfied. It was memorable. For this movie, it was just like, okay. It was good, but there's just so many things that happen near the end. It's just kind of unnecessary to do it now. It was just too early, too damn early. Now let's talk about Jesse Eisenberg, and I'll save most of his stuff for the spoilers. But his portrayal of Lex Luthor was not good. If you saw the trailers and you saw how he was awkward and he just kind of killed the moments, he was just cringe. Okay, he just was cringeworthy. Anytime he said something stupid, anytime he said something on the trailers, it was just cringeworthy. Okay.
Bruce Wayne meets Clark Kent. I love it. I love bringing people together.
Now imagine what you saw in the trailers over a whole film. That's how he did it. It was pretty much like that. I mean, he didn't do as bad as I thought he would. We only saw one good side. Lex Luthor is supposed to be intelligent, threatening. He's supposed to be the perfect man in this. He's supposed to be the best a man can achieve. At least give him a deep voice, make him tall and somewhat threatening. Not just because of his brain, but of his appearance.
It sickens me. That insipid, boyish grin, the smug self-regard. Tell the truth. Doesn't his very existence diminish you? Diminish us all?
You imagine a better world, Kent. That's all I've ever asked. In a world without Superman. Next to Superman, even Lex Luthor's greatness is overshadowed.
We all fall short of his sickening, inhuman perfection. Feel that, Kent. Real muscle. Not the gift of alien biochemistry, the product of hard work.
But this is a little scrawny little short kid. It sounds like a high schooler. And you're going up against Batfleck, who looks like a tank. He's all built up and muscular and super tall. He's like 6 something. And then you have Henry Cavill, who's also super tall. While Lex Luthor is damn short. Jesse Eisenberg's a short ass dude. Jesse Eisenberg did as Lex. He was awkward. People would laugh. People would laugh when he was trying to say some cool lines, which he did have some cool lines and some really cool moments. But it would have been so much better if somebody else would have done them. Anybody else, almost anybody else. People behind me were laughing. They were snickering. They were just laughing because it was cringeworthy. It was awkward. I thought he did okay. He did bad, but not as bad as I thought he would. So I don't know if that's a win or not. He kind of just sucks the seriousness out of most scenes because he's just like, oh, Superman, the red capes are coming. Twitching and just being awkward and it's just weird, okay? It's just weird. And I know he's Lex Luthor Jr. He should have played another character. He should not have been Lex Luthor. We all saw that coming. And we were right. I was waiting for him to be like, okay, Lex, come on, show us something threatening. Show us something with cool scenes. Nope, never came. Never metamorphosized. Not even, well, I'm not going to say. This Luthor made me cringe. I'll call his cringe Lex, because that's pretty much what he is. And Lois Lane also did a bad job. And she was more of a damsel in distress than she was in the first film. She was just a plot device, okay? And not just Lex and her ruining the movie. It's just too much crammed. There's too much crammed into this film. They're trying to be like Marvel, but Marvel paced their movies excellently. This movie felt like there was too much. There's way too many plots and subplots being stuck together here. It's just like an abomination. It was confusing and just left you with mixed feelings, okay? At least that's how it felt for me. Sure, had some really cool scenes, but also had some really dumb scenes. I like how they set up some of the stuff for the Justice League. Some of those scenes were really cool and I thought they were done very well. Others think the opposite. I didn't even expect this movie to be that good neither. My expectations were kind of low. Just because of what we've seen from Marvel, what they've done over and over. It's just been an amazing job. So much better. I'm a DC guy, yet we get this. We haven't really had a movie that's really just up there with the quality with Marvel. Besides the Batman trilogy, you know? We really haven't. Man of Steel was a step in the right direction, but with this movie, it just stepped in the right direction a little bit, then it went back, and it just went back and forth. It never really went beyond. This movie should have been better than Man of Steel, but it wasn't. It just felt empty at times, hollow. I would argue that Man of Steel was a better film, not just superhero film, but a better film overall. This one was just kind of okay. And I can't wait to talk about my spoilers reviews, which will come out in a few days, probably. But that's it. What did you think of the Batman v Superman? I, for one, thought it was okay. Mixed feelings about many things. So many wasted potential. That's really the most depressing thing. Wasted potential. What could have been, should have been a great movie. Hell, some of the fighting was lame. The Batman v Superman fight was amazing. Batman fights were amazing. All those were great. But the final villain fight, it was just a mess. Ugh. I can't wait to talk about that. And don't listen to the critics. It's not nearly as bad as critics say. Those critics and go jump off a cliff, okay? Those critics don't know what the hell they're talking about. Tell me below what you thought. Did it live up to your expectations? What did you think of Jesse Eisenberg? Was I too harsh on him? Please comment below and I will definitely reply. If I had to rate this movie, I would probably give it like a 6 out of 10. A 6 out of 10. It's just okay. It's not horrible. It's not great. It's just okay. This is Randomjeanc signing off.